Hello again and welcome to the download. And today I'm joined by Gerry Sillars. What is your title, Gerry?
I've got no idea, Ronnie.
Well, I'm aware we could call you Sir if you like.
That's fine, I can take a shot.
You can take that. So we've had the pleasure of you being on the download previously, and you've recently now joined, 6 months ago, joined an organisation called Skybox.
Indeed.
And I had a wonderful discussion with Gerry, your global CEO.
Good.
Tell us a little bit about your role at Skybox, Gerry.
Unsurprisingly, Ronnie, I've been tasked to go and do a build, to go and build out the Skybox operation in Asia Pacific. So, which I think is first and foremost is an awesome opportunity for me individually, awesome opportunity for the organisation in Asia Pacific. People often ask me, why did you join Skybox and what's special about Skybox and why, usual stuff.
So that's good because I was going to ask you that. So
okay,
feel free.
well there you go. I've read your script. For me, Skybox offers us an opportunity to really help build the global footprint of the organisation. Skybox, as an organisation, are different from a bunch of organisations where I'd like to call us a mature startup. And certainly in Asia Pacific, we're very much in startup mode in terms of let's go and build a channel, let's go and build logos, let's go and acquire customers, let's go and ensure that we get quality partners on board like Insentra. One of the primary drivers for me joining Skybox, outside of the fact that it's a more mature startup perhaps than I've been in previously, is the organisation has an unbelievable footprint, particularly in the BFSI space. We sell to the majority of banking and finance institutions across the US and Europe. Indeed, Europe represents a very high percentage of Skybox revenue, 50+% of our global revenue we do in Europe. So,
Why do you think that is?
I think part of it's history, part of it's down to the team and the structure in Europe. I believe we have technologies that play well in the European marketplace and certainly play well with the channel models that we have deployed in EMEA, which is exactly the same as I intend to do in Asia Pacific. So, having a look from the outside at an organisation that had a whole bunch of wonderful world-class logos in terms of customers, some great referenceability, not only in BFSI but across manufacturing, utilities, energy companies, government, etc. So there's 5 or 6 key verticals as we see them right now. And as you know, I'm from Europe originally, but I'm a proud Australian. And thinking if these mugs in Europe can do it, then it should be strolling apart for us down here.
So none of what I'm hearing there has anything to do with the technology that Skybox actually have. It's just to do with the fact that they've been very successful in some of the most difficult organisations to actually sell a security solution to, because they're obviously incredibly discerning in BFSI. And very, very particular given what it is that they're actually dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Indeed.
And so that got your interest. They got the opportunity to grow the business here got your interest. How about at a technology level? What about them? There's a lot of security companies and a lot of startups that probably want Gerry Sillars. And let's face it, it's a 15-year-old startup.
Yeah.
So a very well-funded startup, should we say? What from a technology standpoint made you select Skybox as your next place to go and grow?
So you're absolutely right. There's thousands of security companies and thousands of them trying to enter the Asia Pacific marketplace. And interestingly, from a Skybox perspective, we sell a platform, so not a single solution to go and achieve a result around a single use case or a single problem. And I like to do complicated things, Ronnie. So this isn't simple; it's complex. More than that, though, we're really addressing a massive issue that people have around threat-centric vulnerability management, and no one else in the marketplace does what we do in that space. So there's a uniqueness around what we do that no one else can compete with. In addition to that, we do security policy management, and we have some competitors in that space. And some of them have done reasonably well across region, but the message that we've taken to marketplace is threat-centric vulnerability management. So taking the vulnerabilities, the hundreds of thousands of vulnerabilities that enterprises have in an environment on a daily basis, and surfacing to the top the small percentage, the 2, 3, 4% of those vulnerabilities that are actually exposed in the wild and have access to key data assets. It really is a unique selling point for us, and one that's resonating extremely well in not only the Australian marketplace but across Asia Pacific. Massive issue for everyone. Australia, like many other countries in the world now, is starting to institute legislation that makes it even more prevalent to have a tool that can go and identify, needle in the haystack, identify the top 2 or 3% of vulnerabilities in an enterprise.
Yeah, I think one of the things when we were doing our evaluation about your approaches and we looked at the tech and trying to understand it, I think one of the things that jumped out at me that was interesting was a comment that one of your core techs said, which was, if organisations were running our product, they would never have been impacted by WannaCry.
Sure.
And I think that in itself, and this was well in advance of WannaCry becoming a serious threat.
Yeah.
So your ability to have identified that with your own intelligence network that you have and understand where what it was actually trying to do, to my mind, would have paid for itself in terms of a solution set.
Indeed. WannaCry, PETA, whatever, going through all of those in there. So one of the other interesting aspects of Skybox, and another reason when we joined the organisation, is that we have a threat intelligence group inside Skybox that's led by our CTO and VP of R&D, who's got a history in that background. Some of it we can't talk about, but he's worked in a couple of organisations where he's built threat analytics groups, an organisation of people who spend their life in the dark web trying to work out what vulnerabilities are being exposed, which ones are starting to gain some traction in terms of being sold to people to do bad stuff. So we take that information that we gather on a daily basis and feed that information back into the platform. So again, we're offering up for customers on a daily basis, buying up-to-date information on what threats are out there that people are actually trying to monetize and monetize heavily. But then we correlate that with all the other information we've got on how is that relevant to the organisation, because you could spend your life looking at multiple thousands and hundreds of thousands of threat feeds on a daily basis. But again, how do you go and take that? How do you go and correlate that to what does it mean to me as an organisation, and am I exposed, and are any of my key data assets exposed? So it's all about that prioritisation of effort to go and protect the key data assets of an organisation.
And that's what we were hearing from Kitty in my chat with him,
Yeah.
where he was talking about how he sees, you can watch it later,
Okay,
Gerry.
thank you.
So he was talking about how Skybox really addresses a big key concern around risk.
Yeah, sure.
And one of the points I picked up with Kitty was that it wasn't just about the risk, but it's also actually a security tool set that can show an ROI.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that makes you guys very, very unique.
Absolutely.
And Gerry, you come from a long history of partner-based organisations.
Yeah.
And building partner-centric vendors in the Asia-Pac region.
Yeah.
Is that your strategy again with Skybox? What is your partnering strategy here?
So 100%, and it's consistent with the rest of the organisation. Again, you may have heard from Gerry, I don't know if you covered that with him, but we are 100% indirect organisation. So our strategy from a go-to-market is, again, not revolutionary, it's fairly simple. Important to point out that this is a pure enterprise play, so mid-sized to very large enterprises are our target marketplace. So we're operating across region a two-tier distribution strategy. So we have a distribution partner, we have then multiple partners, obviously sitting under distribution. Possibly, slightly different from other places I've been. We see a lot of the large telcos getting much more heavily involved in the cybersecurity space. So we're partnering with a number of those. We've got global relationships with companies like British Telecom, Verizon, Dimension Data, etc. And then for me, the essential thing is we try and go and scale an organisation quickly across Asia Pacific, and certainly from an ANZ context, is to have a service delivery partner that we can trust. So our arms and legs on the ground to go and help us with obviously deployments, obviously consultancy, obviously POCs, POVs. I should never call them POCs, they're proof of values. And potentially even some pre-sales help as well. So hence the engagement from Insentra.
And what made you choose us?
Great question, Ronnie. I think trust is the single most. Trust and integrity are probably the two words that I would always use about everyone else in the organisation except you, Ronnie. But trust. We've known each other for a long time. Again, importantly for me, I want to ensure there's zero channel conflict in any relationship we've got with a partner going and delivering professional services for us. So trust and integrity, though, are absolutely the two words that I use when anyone asks me about Insentra.
Thanks very much, Gerry. And when you're out and out building a channel, You obviously have a leader down here in Australia, Tom.
Yeah.
And
Don't say Tom and Gerry.
And so it is Tom and Gerry.
Yeah,
that's
Tom and
absolutely
Gerry,
right. And you do have a view to go and recruit partners.
Sure.
What's your ideal partner look like?
Great question. One who wants to sell.
I'm good with these great questions.
Yeah, one who wants to sell stuff. Most importantly, what does good look like? What does great look like? At this stage of development, and if I talk specifically about the Australian marketplace, really what we're looking for is account access. So account access. My view on how you go and build partners and partnerships are: let's go and start with an opportunity. Let's go and start with a deal. I'm certainly not inclined to go and spend years educating people and they never see value and we never sell anything. So partners that are deeply engaged in enterprises and the enterprises that we want to sell to in Australia, partners that certainly have the ability and the capability to go and articulate a sales and a pre-sales message, and in the fullness of time, if they decide that there's a big enough market, they see a big enough market to go and invest in some of the stuff that we're obviously engaging in Insentra to do, then fair enough. But I want to try and reduce barriers to entry for people picking up the Skybox solution and going selling it to enterprises.
So right now, a partner that's got the right account base that you're looking to target is already the first checkbox.
Absolutely.
And so your intent then, just to paraphrase what you're saying, is to sort of leverage Insentra, who already works with a bunch of those partners today, to actually be able to act as their pre-sales and their delivery arm as they skill up into what is arguably quite a complex space.
Absolutely.
And potentially a complex solution depending on how many pieces of the puzzle that the organisation select from Skybox.
Absolutely, yeah. And what we do is not simple. I mean, we're a software analytics, cyber analytics tool that we take data feeds from somewhere in the region of 120 to 150 different products. So it isn't simple. And by default that starts to exclude and preclude some partners out there, but again, we don't want them to be specialists in all of this stuff. Again, that's the reason why we engage Insentra.
Fantastic. So Gerry, we've had you on the download before.
Yes.
And I'm not going to ask you to recommend 3 books because you've done that.
Yep.
But I am going to ask you to tell a joke that's different to the last one,
okay.
And let's see if you can find for me this time a PG-rated joke that our audience would find just as funny as your almost R-rated joke last time.
All right, that's never easy for me, Ronnie. It's just in my DNA, being Scottish. But 6-7 years back, we had one dog. Right, I've got a son who's now 22. He was maybe 14, 15, so it might be a bit longer ago. And he said, "Dad, can we get another pet?" And I said, "Sure. What do you want?" He said, "Something that's really different." So I went up to Chatswood Mall and I'm walking about and went to the pet shop there, and there was thinking, what am I going to get? Like a flying tortoise or something like that. But there was a sign that said "Talking Dog, $10." And I thought, surely not. So I've walked in aside and I said to the guy, I said, "I believe you've got a talking dog?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "That's unbelievable, I can't believe it." And he says, "Well, he's out the back, go and have a chat." So out the back I go and the dog's there, and I said, "G'day." And he said, "G'day, mate." And I'm obviously a bit taken aback. He said, "That's unbelievable. How did you ever end up learning to speak?" And he says, he said, "Mate," he says, I was bought as a little pup." He said, "I'm going to stop trying to do an Australian accent there." But anyway, the dog said, bought as a little pup, went to this family, they had a toddler kicking about who was just starting to learn, and the kid started speaking, I started speaking at the same time, and I realised very quickly that I had an aptitude for not only the English language but multiple languages. So the people that bought me, the owners, worked in the civil service. Can't remember which department now, but they were sitting having a dinner party one night, and I'm sitting there, and my owner's talking to me as he always did, and I'm talking back, and we had a guy there who worked for Department of DFAT, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. And he said, "My God, this dog talks." And he said, "Yeah, he just talks." And said, "That'd be really useful for us. Does he do any other languages?" And he said, "Well, he's picked up a bit of French, a bit of Italian." So they said to me, "Do you fancy a job in the civil service working for DFAT?"
And this is the dog telling me this?
This is the dog telling me this, yeah. So the dog said, "Yeah, I'll give it a go. Yeah, why not? I'm kind of bored just sitting about being a house dog. Well, let's go and give it a go." So they stuck him on an intensive language course for 2-3 months. He learnt some Russian, he learnt some Arabic. Anyway, off he goes. He did a couple of trade missions. You know, he began undercover as the guide dog for someone who had a white stick going, you know. And they conveniently just leave him in the middle of a trade negotiation when everyone's split to go and say, you know, what kind of deal are we going to do here? You know, so he said one of the biggest ones was a Russian trade delegation. He was in Moscow, sitting there, and listened to what the Russians were saying. Going out, boom. Australia ended up with an unbelievable deal. So anyway, after a year or two, he's kind of bored with that. So got a call. Borders and Customs guys said, look, you know, do you want a job here? So he said, you know, no problem. So kicked about at Sydney Airport for a couple of years. Everyone thought he was a sniffer dog, but he was just out listening, you know, to see if anyone's talking about drugs or, you know, people who shouldn't be in the country, all that kind of stuff. So he did a couple of years doing that. And then Asia picked him up. So he did a couple of tough assignments, this dog, he's telling me. So he was in Afghanistan, so, you know, he's kind of about, he's been the stray dog, hanging about there, and he's calling in airstrikes and stuff like that. And then he ended up, the last thing the dog tells me he did was he was undercover at Lakemba Mosque, so, you know, trying to work out if there's anything bad happening at Lakemba Mosque. Anyway, after that, I said, so, you know, what's the story now? Why are you here? And he said, well, you know, I was just tired with it all. He says, you know, corporate life, civil service just wasn't for me. I just want to be a house dog again. That's awesome. I'll come back to you. So I've gone back out and I've spoken to the guy at the desk. He said, did you have a chat? And I said, did I have a chat? He said, that story is unbelievable. He says, tell me, he says, why are you selling that dog for $10? He said, he's a bloody liar, mate.
All right. Gerry, Sillars. So we went through all of that to find out that the dog was a liar.
The dog's a bloody liar,
and in the
mate.
meantime, we've now got a video that we're going to put and we're going to publish it, which has, I must have counted maybe 8 or 10 trigger words in there between ASIO, DFAT, Lakemba Mosque,
you should
Russian, Arabic, etc. So we've got plenty of trigger words for your bullshitting dog.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, it wasn't me, it's the dog that told me the story, Ron.
That's outstanding, Gerry, mate. Thanks again for being on the download with us. Most
No worries.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And good luck with Skybox.
Thank you, mate.